Mandee. How are you today?
I'm so good, Crystal. How are you today?
I am great. So it's funny, we were talking about the other stuff before we came on, and then it like popped into my head. We also have the 222222 portal thing going on tomorrow.
Yes.
So I was like, ooh, we kind of have a lot of stuff to talk about. So I don't know. There's a lot of fun stuff that we can bring up. And I'm sure I don't know much about the 222 thing, but I've seen a lot of different people. Hi, Heather. Happy Monday to you. I've seen a lot of people talk about like the split with energy. And so some people are really exhausted and tired and feeling it and feeling groggy. And then other people are like, woohoo, I'm one of the woohoo people. I'm not feeling the sluggishness or the ugliness. I'm just kind of like, yes. And so that's kind of neat how people feel the energy in different ways. I wonder if that's because of what they're experiencing, learning, growing from, what they're letting go of, and other things. Like, I wonder if that's why people experience it differently.
I think you're onto something there, sister. Like, we can't all be experiencing the same things at the same time. And there are times where full moons will rock you. Like, and then also be like last week, I got rocked, no doubt about it. So many people did. But then there's other people who they'll activate. Yep. It just depends on where we're coming in, what's going on in our soul's journey at this time, how much we're willing to allow ourselves to be in flow. Because if we think back on it, I know I can speak for myself, and I'm sure you can too, Crystal, but like we probably made things much harder on ourselves back before we were a little bit more conscious and aware of how we should have been talking to ourselves or treating ourselves.
Yes, there's been some real conversations with me over a lot of stuff, and it was really cool. I was talking to Ben yesterday. We've had a lot of like blah, 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 happening. I'll just put it that way. And I had this great conversation with him, and I was able to, in this conversation, understand some of my frustrations regarding other things in like the most open way. And in that moment, I was like in tears because like I'm crying and it's emotional, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm so grateful you guys gave me this. Like in tears, thanking all of my team for finally putting it out there in a way that I could really digest and understand what my issues were. I want to say regarding him, not necessarily regarding him, but regarding him in a different situation. It is literally bringing up all the PTSD in me from different points and times in my life. So this person represents this represents this is this. And so it's like this perfect storm of healing and ugly and transformation every single time these things come up. And it's just like, I am exhausted, but also grateful because it finally hit me in a way that I could see all the different layers kind of come through in that one conversation. And I was so grateful that they finally helped me understand a piece to that puzzle. So it's been neat. It's since the full moon. This has kind of been the structure of all of the ups and downs, but there's been a lot surfacing.
Welcome to the 2222222 portal. What is up? Hello. We've got some people here. Hi, Heather. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Julie. We're so glad you're here with us. Thanks for tuning in. Crystal, like that is a really good synopsis of this energy that we're bringing in, this portal that we're in right now. It's a gateway. People who are into numerology and things like that really, enjoy this, and I do too. And it's fun because there's an energy around it. And if we think about the things we went through recently, we had Mercury retrograde with Venus retrograde and that wild full moon in Leo. We are coming out, and we're coming out of the winter season. So we're coming into ourselves more and more. And what that's going to look like is raw and radical truth. I've peaked. I have my Louise affirmation calendar, Louise Hay affirmations. And today's is the garden of my affirmations is bearing fruit. And I love that one.
Oh.
But I peaked for tomorrow, and tomorrow is love is the miracle cure. Loving myself works miracles in my life. That is what the 2222 portal is all about. The 222 portal is all about. It's and when we see twos and things, it's about finding balance. It's about finding pair within yourself and feeling truly like you're the leader of your own life. And we can only do that when we're truly finding our own happiness, when we're truly finding our own medicines, and when we're truly finding our own flow with life, depending on what it is our soul is wanting to do, because no two souls are alike.
Right. Right. I think that's so fun because we tend to compare to other people like, oh, they're here. How come I didn't? Or how come I'm not? And it's like, but we all have our own traumas, dramas, and crazies to learn from, grow from, and do. So don't compare yourself. And it's funny that you said that. I like how you kind of put that together because all the things that I've been seeing about the portal, whatever, is that it's about love and relationships. And I think when people see that stuff, they kind of disregard the relationship with self, and they automatically look into it as a partnership or something like that with somebody else. But one of the things that we neglect ourselves is our marriage to ourselves. So our spirit, physical marriage coming together. And so if it's not a romantic situation, or that's not what you're needing right now, maybe you need to stir up in your own love and your own understanding and your own growth when it comes to that romantic marriage that you have between those two halves. So it doesn't necessarily mean.
I cannot stress. Sorry, I'm totally interrupting. Like, I can't stress.
No, you're good.
Date yourselves. Like, get to know yourself. Like, this relationship that you have with yourself is what we chose to incarnate here for. It is why we are here. And it might be the love of our life, our children, our mother, the people who we can't even possibly think about losing, but it's still all just temporary. We're in our own flesh suits here. We're in our own experience. And this union within ourselves is what we're being called to do. It's what we're being called to step forward into. It's how we co-create this new, more harmonious planet and way of being, when we all take responsibility for ourselves and when we start tuning into what our hearts want most. And when we do that, what happens is then everything else starts to fall into place. So I think that this portal is really about, like you said, it's about devoting yourself to yourself. It's a remarriage to yourself almost. It's an opportunity to take a look at how you're showing up with yourself in your relationship and how you're showing up with others, and how you can choose to do better at that. That doesn't mean be a doormat or, be controlling or this or that. It just means to be more present, to be more observing, to be more loving and kind to yourself first and foremost, and allow it to overflow. And hi, Tracy and Andrea and Sophia, Taco Tuesday. I love that. That is hilarious. And you're totally inspiring me. Tomorrow or something similar.
Tacos. And then we have Chaley Atwood coming through. So sorry, I'm horrible with names.
Oh my gosh, yes. I love that. That sounds really pretty, and I want to make sure we say it the right way. So if you wouldn't mind typing that out of how we say your name, we would love that, and we'll try our best to remember.
Yes. So anything else that we want to discuss? Anybody have any questions? Anything coming to mind? Just chatting today.
How's everybody feeling after, like we said, we're coming out here. We're in our last little bit of winter in the Northern Hemisphere. We've got our last month of a lot of things dying off. And then there's a lot of things growing. And literally outside. Oh, Shaylee.
Shaylee.
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah, see, Crystal chopped that right, but it is beautiful. It is beautiful. The spelling especially, very cool. I like it.
Yeah. And so right now we're like, there is a lot of rebirth happening. There's these kind of regrowth things fostering within us. There's even in certain parts, even where I live here, we're getting snowstorms, but we're also getting daffodils and crocuses starting to come up and starting to bloom. And the same thing's happening within our souls. There was this like irritative kind of energy that we talked about last week, and it was to kind of slash away and burn away the things not really serving us so that we can really get ready to start nourishing these seeds here come springtime. So I'm curious, how's everybody feeling out there? What's your energy been like over the weekend and moving into this week? Crystal and I are both feeling much lighter, much better, and more excited for the things to come, which is good, right?
Exactly. Kathy says she's inspired mentally, but physically whacked, which is kind of what we were talking about, the difference of how people are experiencing it. Sophia says feeling very good and enlightened. And then Shaylee says, thank you. I hope so. I have very little left in me. I am sorry that is what's taking place right now. And I mean, like before, because I feel like you're a little new here. I haven't seen that name yet, but Mandee can pull cards, and sometimes I can tap in. So if there's anything that you're needing to know about your life or moving forward, Shaylee, just let us know. That's kind of what we're here for. So Andrea says, dead last week, much better today. That's how I was. Last week I was wrecked. That full moon got me, and it was more exhaustion. It was tired. I was so tired last week, but I've also been flaring a whole lot, which is also something that we talked about before. Getting on here, we were talking about flaring and my tinctures. And so they're finally done. They were supposed to be done on the 14th, but I was too lazy, so I let them sit. And then yesterday I was flaring really bad and had a bad fibro, like ankylosing flare. And my
what does
back
that
was
mean?
so
A what flare?
ankylosing spondylitis.
Oh,
Yeah, it's AS. And so I was really miserable yesterday. Like my back was so much in pain. And so finally I was like, get off the couch, girl. You got this good medicine sitting in this shelf in this thing that you have like literally sat off to the side and see what it's about.
And you literally crafted yourself for yourself. Let's tell everybody this journey. So what medicine did you make, and then how'd you make it, and then what's it gonna treat here?
So I have decided upon myself. I looked into, actually it all started with like a Facebook thing that I saw a while ago. And somebody was talking about stinging nettles being something that was good for pain. And I was like, okay, so what is this? Blah, blah, blah. And I do believe that it was like some remedy book or something, and the lady was claiming that it was as good as Vicodin. Well, if anybody knows mine and Mandee's journeys, we have been diagnosed with some autoimmunes, fibromyalgia, all those fun things, bone issues. And both of us also were on Vicodin, Norcos, stuff like that at one point in time in our life. I don't want those drugs. Okay. I don't. They don't help. They mask the pain. They cause us to really get sicker in my personal perspective. And that's not something I'm looking for. I'm looking for health when I need the coping mechanisms through the pain, but also I'm looking for ways to overcome and heal. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, I need to read more about that, because I was like, yeah, whatever. So I looked at all the properties of stinging nettles, and it is amazing for inflammation, gut pain, Crohn's, which also I have been diagnosed with. All of the things that are essentially gut related, which is solar plexus and sacral chakra, which is also healing energy, and all those things go hand in hand. And I was like, why the hell not? So then I bought a couple books on essentially how to be a witch and make my own crap, and I dig it. And then in that, I also found that it's awesome.
Been a witch for a while. You're just experiencing a different version of your witchiness.
Yes,
you're going primal.
So the second one that I made, the second tincture, is actually for so stinging nettles is for pain, but it's more so when the flares are kind of like at the lower end of the flares and all that other stuff. And then I made one that's made out of feverfew, echinacea, and catnip, which is supposed to be like heavy duty, like pain, and it's supposed to really relax your body. I haven't used that one yet because I wanted to see how the nettles work, which were freaking amazing. And when it came to the other one, Mandee and I also are advocates of medical marijuana. So if you don't want to hear this, plug your ears. I had already made a tincture for myself a while ago with hard hitting like indica. And so I decided to add that in with one of the tinctures just in case, to see how that would actually relax my body and kind of work with it a little bit. So I use the stinging nettles, amazing, 90% pain relief in just 5 drops underneath my tongue. I used that yesterday and today, and I was amazed. But all the healing properties that come with it, it's literally just taking cold pressed coconut oil, 100% organic coconut oil, because I don't do alcohols, putting it in with it and making sure that you let it sit for the appropriate period of time, straining it, and there you go. There's your beautiful tincture it works so good. I can't even tell you. Like, I'm so grateful that somebody pushed my eyesight into that. It was neat. It was a neat experience, and it was fun. So I'm excited.
And if you're someone who suffers from any sort of like chronic pain, because I certainly had the fibromyalgia going on, and I had really bad gout and arthritis. I broke my back a bunch of times. I had all kinds of like scar tissue and stuff. And the first time I drank nettle tea, I was like I could not get enough of it. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is amazing. And, it's just like herbal tea. There's nothing like no special taste, anything like that. But your body will tell you like, oh my God, I want and need this herb. And I experienced that. And now Crystal's experiencing that with her tincture, which is amazing. And just remember, you have so much power over your body. So you have so many opportunities to pair all kinds of stuff. And there's a beautiful opportunity to bridge Eastern and Western medicine right now. And you might need to be on prescriptions for a little while for something, and you might want to bridge out of it, like same thing with our mental health. So like we have physical things come up. If you break your leg, you got to go. There's a whole routine and what we need to do to heal that. The same thing with our hearts and our minds and our souls. And so just remember, you have so many opportunities and so many different kind of medicines that'll help you and support you. Yep. And there's so many opportunities and hope to heal, because I had doctors telling me I was never going to walk again. I was never going to be able to like dance again, do all the things I love. I dance, I walk, I snowboard. I'm on the beach every day. Like I blow out both of my ankles, all kinds of stuff. And like, so just know that don't give up, because there really is hope. And now look at Crystal. She's making her own medicines in her kitchen, feeling 10,000 times better.
It's amazing, and it kind of empowers you, because I think that that's kind of the mental hell that we get put in sometimes. And I'm going to call it more mental hell, because if you're in the physical pain and the physical aspects or burdens of what's going on in your life at that time, it's really hard to get yourself mentally back in check in those moments. And similar things, different stories, but I was told this was going to be my life and this was going to be my life and blah 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 blah. And, medications for me, I've always been very sensitive to medications, but a lot of times when you're dealing with anything nerve related, they try to give you stuff like gabapentin or Lyrica or something like that. I can't take those. My body rejects those things.
Blind.
They make me essentially turn into like an elderly person with dementia. I can't remember anything. I can't word. I can't do anything. It's all complete brain fog, and I have no concentration level. It makes me really sick. And so I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Because I also am not, I can't take NSAIDs. And so Tylenol is really my only thing other than medical marijuana. I don't want to sit around and be stoned all day either, because I want to be conscious for my life. And I kind of want to understand things. To have that for me, which is a beautiful medicine, Mandee, thank you. She's the one that kind of like opened that up to me in a different way a couple years ago. Don't know if she knew that she did that, but specifically like with anxiety, it works very well for my anxiety. I finally found stuff that does work for me. Still more of an oil gal than a smoking gal. It's just what works better for my body. But I have learned. Right, but I've learned so much how to empower myself by making little changes and getting outside of what my thought process was from before. There's amazing things out there, and as long as we utilize them in ways that kind of lift us through instead of like mask us or cope or like, use it almost as a way to block ourselves from feeling emotions, we can utilize these things correctly. My body just hates pharmaceutical drugs. I cannot have them. They make me sick. And so I had to find something that was going to work for myself a little bit better. And so I'm just grateful for what that is. And hopefully some of the other fun stuff that I add into the mix later. I hope to have like a whole shelf someday, be like, okay, what do I need today?
Nice if everybody just has their own little apothecary with magical little herbs they grew that heal themselves. It's amazing when, we're not taught about this, but when you just give it a chance, or you give it a try, or you do some research, you're like, wow. And yeah, Crystal and I both, we had our journeys, and I switched. I was like a late bloomer with smoking weed, because I was always like, just wasn't that interested in it when I was younger, which is cool and fine and all good. But when I was like 25 or 26, I think it was like 25, I was on all like round the clock muscle relaxers and painkillers. And my brothers were like, what if you just take a break from all those like pills for a month and try some weed and see what happens? And I was like, okay, I'm desperate. Like I'll try anything. And then I went through, we have a whole nother show called Token to Talk where we talk more about this. But, I had felt like I'd been lied to, because I had gotten such relief all of a sudden. And it wasn't fucking me up like all those other pills were. And I'm like, what is this? We have an incredible woman that we work with, Holly Joy McCabe. She's also known as the Spiritual Fit Chick. She's based out of Charlotte, North Carolina right now. She has an amazing CBD line called Zen in a Bottle. That is what I recommend and endorse for sure. It's everything you could want and more. If you're looking to add in a CBD, it's like has incredible spectrum of all the things that you want. It's organic. Holly knows everything that happens with it, how it's created, where it comes from, and it's very potent. So just know that there are just so many different things out there. And some of the other stuff is, I was talking about this earlier today. We have a show on Sea Goddess called Unschooled. We'll be releasing soon with our friend Jordan, who she's incredible. And she brought a lot of light to the fact that she wasn't able to start healing her feet or her back until she started walking around barefoot more and getting outside and grounding and being with earth. And even in the winter, finding time to just walk around barefoot. Same thing. I was working with Holly. She told me I was like somebody who they were like, oh, you're going to have like all these special shoes your whole life and all this bullshit. And I just started walking barefoot. And it was painful at first. You know, it's not easy. You got to rip off the Band-Aid a little. And the more I walked barefoot, the more I started stretching, doing some yoga, the more my body started to come back to life. And so you can do that. That helps so much. And then also with pain, tapping. We have some tapping videos that are going to be coming out, but if you look up EFT tapping or book a session with me, I can teach you how to do it. But you can literally bring your pain from like a 8 down to like a 2, just by tapping on certain acupuncture points and breathing and drinking certain teas and allowing yourself to drop into gratitude. That helps not only for physical pain, it helps for anxiety, helps for all kinds of stuff. And we have so many comments coming in, Crystal.
I know. I saw that. I was like, I went back up and I was like, okay, I'm going to wait till we're done chatting a little bit.
Yeah. And Shaylee, I was going to say, also ask for a card, and I don't want to forget that because we've been jamming a little bit.
Yep. We will answer some of these and then we will get to you. Okay, Shaylee. Jennifer says, I've been feeling this energy tearing me the F up. A ton of push, pull. I've had huge moments of flying higher than ever before and little slips back into the old. I am aware of it and I'm aware of it all, thankfully, but at times it is so challenging. And I think that's kind of part of the growth that's actually taking place. I've been experiencing the same thing. There's a lot coming to the surface with us. Me specifically, I don't know about Mandee. I'm sure she's got a lot coming to the surface too in different ways. But yeah, there's a lot of breaking free of systems, and essentially, I really think that we're getting over some gunk, and spirit's finally calling us to take all those things that we've learned over the past couple of years with ourselves and really find a way to like let the past be the past, you know. Let it be the past, like heal from it, grow from it, because what's waiting for us on the other side of that, I believe, is probably pretty cool. So I think that's that push-pull system, but you being aware and understanding yourself in those moments, I think that's half of the battle. So give yourself a lot of love, give yourself a major hug and be like, okay, yes. And next time I'll do it better. If for some reason you feel like you didn't do it the greatest in that moment, it's cool. It's whatever, because that's what growth is. So love yourself through those things.
At like moment to moment, every single day, every single moment is an opportunity to forgive yourself, to have grace, to step forward, to do better. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. And that's the hardest part. That's how we keep ourselves stuck too, is by just operating in guilt and shame and criticism of ourselves all the time. The real renegade hard stuff to do is actually truly learn how to love yourself and change the way you talk to yourself and become aware of the thoughts you're thinking and the actions you're doing. And that's the hard work. That's the work everybody talks about. So, and it's worth it because it brings peace and love and freedom to your mind and your body and your soul and your spirit.
Sorry, I read another comment, so I was getting out Louise Hay here.
Our Bibles.
So Heather says quite a bit of arguing this last week for me, but so much peace since the full moon. Awesome. Yes, arguments are coming to the surface. I can't remember if we were on when we were talking about that or not, but I can't remember if I was talking about Ben and I having the conversation last night. But yes, that is something also. It wasn't necessarily an argument. It was more of a self-argument, I think, with myself that I was experiencing versus Ben. And then Kathy says, my blood sugar has been high for no good reason. Like my body is fighting me. And that's why I got out the, oops, sorry, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. So, Mandee, if you want, you can like start reading. Carrie is complaining because for some reason she has been like blocked from us.
What?
She can't, she says she can't comment, but honey, I'm going to tell you, Carrie, you're commenting and we can see your comment. Yeah, she's, I guess, banned off from Facebook Lives for misuse. She doesn't understand.
Naughty
Neither do
Carrie. No, I'm just kidding. That's probably rich. But
So,
you can try to watch on YouTube. Also, you might not be able to see the comments, but you can try to watch there. And hopefully, if you're getting this, Carrie, give us another comment, and we'll know if you're back.
okay, so what I'm going to say is that I looked up diabetes because they don't have something in this book generally for like elevated blood sugar. So I'm just going to look up diabetes, even though you probably have not been diagnosed with diabetes. Could also look up pancreas too, because it all goes hand in hand. It says the cause is longing for what might have been, a great need to control, deep sorrow, no sweetness in life, or no sweetness left. Sorry. And then the affirmation for that is, this moment is filled with joy. I now choose to express the sweetness of today. And so if you kind of look at your life a little bit, Kathy, and see what's going on in your life, I guess, as a whole, are you lacking some sweetness? Have things been a little bit heavier? Are you having a harder time kind of seeing through certain things and like feeling like a lack of control? So trying to micromanage maybe. Those might be some of those things that are going on in your life and causing you to have some ups and downs. And then obviously I'm also not a doctor, so probably get that checked out.
Seriously, that's the antidote when there's joy for like blood stuff, anything blood pressure, blood sugar, the diabetes things. It has to do with lack of joy. It's because we're not finding the sweetness in life. Play yourself a favorite song, watch some stupid movie that makes you laugh, and call up somebody who you want to talk to. These are the medicines of the soul that help these things to actually regulate in our body. Our cells listen to every single thing we're saying to them. And so it is really important to do whatever you can, even if it's the worst day of your life, to find just a little bit of sweetness in order to assist your blood sugar.
Absolutely. Like affirmation the crap out of yourself. I don't care what it is. I had like a 20-minute talk with myself this morning in the mirror getting ready for my group reading, and it was just like one of those situations where Crystal hasn't had a talk with herself in a long time. We have to love ourselves too, and we have to like admire ourselves and stop spending so much time giving to everybody else in the realm of love and understanding, and also kind of reflect that back on us, especially when we're experiencing more harsh system failures within ourselves. That's really when we need to look inward a little bit more. And so that's kind of what it is. And then Shaylee says, wow, that's amazing. I'm not sure in response to what that was, but Andrea says, narcotics make my brain sick. Yes, I'd rather have the pain. I have AS also. You were diagnosed with AS. You don't own AS. AS is not a part of you. The doctors diagnosed me with what I have because I refuse to own it. I'm going to get better and I'm going to get healthy from these things, because in my eyes, autoimmunes are essentially emotional healing that's coming to the surface. So when I'm flaring specifically from Crohn's or something like that, I actually look at it as things from my past dumpster coming to the surface so I can see it, acknowledge it, understand it, and move it through out of my system. And so those flares are actually starting to get fewer and far between since I've started realizing, understanding, and acknowledging in my pain states. But words, just like Mandee talked about, be careful how you acknowledge yourself and what you take in and take on as being part of you, because we don't have to own the things that happen to us. We can acknowledge they're a part of our space, but we don't have to make sure that that's us to deal with. Okay.
I learned that from Wayne Dyer. It's a good point. And I said the same thing, like I have gout, but I try to really not be like, I didn't try to like not say that very often. I learned that from Wayne Dyer. He was sharing a story about receiving a healing, and he went and just said, I was diagnosed with leukemia. And he wouldn't say, like, he was so strict about not saying that he had it or that he was healing it. Even like just saying I'm healing it is acknowledging it more too at times. So it's just important to say, as much as you can, I acknowledge that this is happening within me and I'm doing my best to heal it, and I'm healing and I'm getting stronger every day. And that's the thing with affirmations, it's hard at first because you don't believe it. You're like, I'm beautiful, but you don't feel like that. Or I love myself and you don't feel like you do. But the whole point of affirmations is just to reprogram a little. Like, we talk shit to ourselves all day. So why not throw in something else, swing the pendulum the other way, and let ourselves tell ourselves some nice things. And what that does is it starts to plant seeds, and it gives us opportunities to really move that energy. So it takes work, and it doesn't always like feel the best, but it's worth it after a while.
I am going to mute myself and get up and walk away, because the next comment is Heather, and she says, I am going to try to make my own tincture for pain and or blood pressure, and I'm going to grab a couple books. I will be right back.
Cool. And in the meantime, I'm going to grab a card for Shaylee. So welcome. I know this is your first time here. We're excited. You got leap. You go first, and the universe will catch you. The angels are showing that they're just really proud of you lately. They're giving me all this kind of proud energy that you have been really thinking about some changes in your life, and you've been showing up in a different way. You've been, really working with spirituality a little differently is really a beautiful thing. And they're showing there's just some opportunities that are coming in your life right now. And sometimes it's a little hard or a little scary to say yes and to take that leap and to jump forward, but they're giving you all the green lights, and they're saying it's safe to say yes to something that you've been thinking about. And it's just safe to trust. It's like they're showing more and more self-trust coming up with you, kind of that leap in the net will appear thing. It's important to make sure you're taking a step forward and trusting that your higher self, your angels, and the universe have your back, and that everything will fall into place. And you can't make a wrong decision at this point because it's going to serve you. So they're just giving you a lot of love. And as we're moving into this new 2/2 portal, to just have some faith and to take a step forward and to leap and to trust and know that you are supported, and that you will even receive some signs of confirmation that whatever it is you're trying to think about moving forward towards, that it's safe. And you don't have to worry about all the outcome or all the things that you need to know. You just need to trust in the feeling to move forward. So I hope that helps, sister. Thanks for tuning in.
I was like, that was a good card. So one of the things that I have started doing, Heather, and I can try it because I know you're friends with me on Facebook, and I can post this lady, but I watch somebody on YouTube. It's called like Rain Country, RAIN, and it's country. It's this woman who comes out and she teaches people how to make stuff. And it's all sorts of stuff. Like, she makes her own antibiotics. She makes everything. This woman is amazing. But I started listening to something when I first got on, and it is the Homesteader's Herbal Companion. And she had us get that book. And then she also has Medicinal Herbs, A Beginner's Guide, which I also got. These are two very different ways of like seeing things. So like, one person's more mathematical and like exact measurements for people who like really want to know what their measurements are and what they're getting and blah, blah, blah. The other lady's like, throw it into a dang bowl and mix it with some shit and see what happens. Pretty much.
That was like my herbal
do it.
teaching.
That's me. I've learned that that's me. I'm not the mathematical follow anything. I just like to throw stuff in and say, hey, look, these are all supposed to work. So let's test her out.
Yeah. She's like, handful of dandelions in the mason jar, fill it up. You're good.
So those were two really good books. And like I said, the lady that I follow is called Rain Country, and she is amazing. She gives a lot of really useful information. And she also teaches how to make all sorts of different medicines. Specifically, I do believe she even has one for blood pressure on there. So I do believe I came across something with her in blood pressure. So look her up. She's really, really amazing.
Thing with blood pressure for everybody, lots of breathing. Nice deep breaths all the time, letting yourself be held, letting breath come in and calm down your cells and your nervous systems. It's overrated. And that's what if anything, this past chapter taught us with this whole lung thing we've all been kind of dealing with. It's that we deserve to breathe. It's that we deserve to concentrate on our lungs and help them to feel safe and supported and at peace. And it's going to help with so many things, particularly blood pressure.
So I talked about that a little bit last night on my other show, where I talk about like the ghostly encounters that we have. And the reason is because a lot of physical things go hand in hand with people who are spiritual. And I have had issues with my cardiac, whatever, my heart, all of those things. I had issues with that in the beginning when I first started channeling. And one of the things that I had to learn that was when spirit was around me, my heart rate goes up. And so I had to see a cardiologist. And one of the things that I do now, nothing's wrong with my heart. I had to wear a Holter monitor. Legitimately, my blood pressure spikes. Everything goes up when I'm channeling, in a not necessarily bad way, but it can be overwhelming for people. And so what I've learned to do in those moments where things get really crazy out of control and I may be having chest pains or something like that, I will kind of sit with myself for a moment and I'll take a couple deep breaths. And if I can slow it down myself and I can get to a state of calm through those meditation, cleansing, clearing breaths, then I know that it's not my heart. I know it's something else that I'm receiving. Obviously, if you keep having heart issues, once again, cardiologist, see a cardiologist. But at the same time, if you keep having pain or something doesn't feel right, go to a doctor, go to an emergency room. But I've learned to really kind of hold space with my body and get to know my body pretty well and know when I can do this. And if it's something else, then I know to look into it differently. But it's really getting to know your body and speaking a different language, because your body does speak to you all the time. And sometimes we ignore it because it doesn't really feel like they're things that are big or whatever for us to really pay attention to. And that's why a lot of things end up getting missed, because we don't pay attention to those little callings before they're big ones. So
yeah, we just suck it up. We suck it up and don't pay attention to it. And I will say that I was on high blood pressure medicine for a little while, for like almost a year. And I was able to get off of it because I started doing celery juice every morning. And my celery juice helps keep my blood pressure like perfect now. So there's a lot of different opportunities out there.
Jill says that she's watching this from her treadmill. Thank you, Jill. Awesome. Thank you for exercising for me in this moment. Shelly says that is so cool. Glenda, hey ladies, great to see you too. Great to see you too, Glenda. Tracy tagged somebody, and then we have TJ who says, Crystal, I had a really bad mom moment last week with my daughter, of whom you know. I don't even know how to apologize to her, and she really believes me that I really mean it. So here's the thing, and I'm not going to give you any type of information and validation regarding you and your situation, because your daughter's your daughter and you know your daughter and you love her, but I guarantee that your daughter's a beautiful human being that is very full of empathy and love herself. And I know you're a beautiful human being full of empathy and love. And we all have bad mom moments. Like, I think that that's one of those things. I have learned to, first off, I had to be very nice to my mom. There's a lot of situations and things in my own mom's life that I'm like, it got to me, but at the same time, we don't have a manual and sometimes we lose our shit too. Okay. I had to realize like the importance of taking the time and having a conversation with my son. And I think that that's what's kind of made us as strong as what we are with each other. First off, he's not a stupid kid. He knows a lot of stuff. He's a very old soul. When he was 8 years old, I literally decided to essentially like parent him in such a different way, because I could tell that he knew a lot about where he was going and what he was doing. If I would have tried to micromanage those things in him, it would have went way down a different hill. And he would have like hated me for it because I was trying to force him. And so essentially what I did was I started having conversation. I was like, hey kid, here's the situation. This is how I see it. This is how you see it. I know you can make good choices. And my job as a mom is kind of to sit here and guide you through things and listen to how you feel. It's not to tell you what to do. And so I believe you can make the right choices and decisions. And 9 times out of 10, he made the right choices and decisions. The kid has got his crap way more put together than I ever did at this age. And it's partially because I allowed him to be him, and you allow your daughter to be her. And sometimes, mom, please hear this, because you really need to like stop being so hard on yourself. Okay. You can even show this to your daughter. So if you want to make me the bad guy here, your daughter loves you for who you are. And I know that you guys butt heads, but you butt heads because you're both the same person. You see things very similarly in life. You just come from different generations and the conversations happen differently. Okay. And so just try very hard, mom, because right now you've got some anxiety happening in your life and some things spinning around you. And when that happens, sometimes all of those emotions that we're feeling in those moments bring up things from the past and bring up all these other emotions at the same time. And we get those spikes too. We're not perfect. We're humans. Humans fuck up, guys. Okay. So you got to allow yourself those moments. And then after the fact, come back to your daughter. Allow yourself to come back to your daughter. And I believe fully that she will understand. I believe that if you sit down with her and have a sincere conversation, I do believe that she's going to understand. Did you hurt her a little bit? Your guides are shaking their head and they're saying, yeah, there was a little bit of hurt involved in the conversation, but they're also not necessarily making me feel like you meant to say it the way that it was said. Okay. They're really making me feel like this was one of those moments of your internal child kind of coming out in the situation yourself. And so I think some things were said a little bit differently than how you meant them to be said. And I think that you need to give yourself love too. Okay. And so have the conversation with her. I think she's going to understand more than you think she will. I think that you feel right now so bad about yourself that you're not really allowing yourself that space to really forgive yourself too. And we have to learn how to forgive ourselves too while also having those conversations. But I think if you let her know what was going on in you in that moment, I think she's going to understand a whole lot differently what the experience was, because I think she knows you better than you think she does. And I do think that even though you guys have had a roller coaster ride, I think you guys are becoming way closer together and way more united than you think you will. And I actually feel like this may actually cause a lot of healing and growth for you two moving forward. So this is one of your moments. You're healing too a lot right now. You're healing right now a lot. And your guides are really making me feel like there is a lot coming to the surface with you. And there's some decision making coming to the surface with you. And there's also some boundaries that are having to be put forth in your life as well. And I think that's causing a lot of your anxiety because it's bringing up some of your fears of neglect. And it's also bringing up some of your fears of like not having anybody around you to love you and, you know, see you for who you are. And I think that's some of what triggered that response that you gave to your daughter. So please just know and understand we have things inside of us too, and you have to love yourself just as much as you love your daughter. So you're parenting yourself and reparenting yourself through some of these communications we have with our children. Keep that in mind, okay?
The abandonment wound is really big right now. Like, not big as in popular, but kind of, because it's coming up to be healed in so many of us at this time. And the way that we heal that is by learning how to trust ourselves more, by showing up for ourselves, by being more devoted, by allowing those who we love to blossom and to be, and to try to refrain from being kind of codependent and doing our best to find our own happiness. You can still be close to people and have fun with them, but it's about finding your joy and your light source from yourself and not from your relationships. And just the fact that, you know, you're wanting to apologize and, you know, show up differently makes all the difference. And it's not, you know, the easiest thing because we internalize that something is wrong with us and we feel like a deep insecure attachment when people are wanting to do their own thing. But really, it's an opportunity for us to start turning more into ourselves. And it's not an easy wound to heal, but it is so possible too.
It is. So I went down to see
we got
or
like
not.
beach party going on over here. I like it.
I was like, we have like all of the comments. I wanted to make sure TJ was still there, heard it, and or responded, and she did. So thank you. And I'm sorry I made you cry, but my dear sweet girl, you have been through a lot in your life, and there's a lot of things coming up right now. But give yourself some space and love. Like do something with your heart center. Katie says that she has multiple autoimmune diseases also. Sophia says, even just preparing it yourself, that was fun. It only took me like 2 minutes to prepare it. I had to sit on a shelf for like a month and a half, but it was fun to watch it because once a week you shake it and it turns like these really fun colors. So it was actually quite the fun thing. Andrea says, I have so much chronic pain. I need to learn about this nettle tincture. Sophia, you can also use tea. Mandee uses nettle tea. So if you guys don't want to use like make the tincture, you can also get tea. I do tincture just because it's supposed to be more potent and I ain't got time for that tea. Okay. It's just crystal. It's drinking.
I enjoy my tea time.
I was like, everybody likes it their own way. Me, it's like 5 drops under my tongue. Let it sit. I'm done. I'm good. Sophia says, oh, sorry, I went up again. And then Michelle says, I'm so glad I tuned in. I am in so much pain and I was looking for some more natural relief. Definitely going to try nettle tea. Awesome. I think, Mandee, this is something I feel like angels, your people around your head can answer for us. Do you think some of the push, the pull, the planetary shifts and changes, all those things, do you think that that has something to do with some of that chronic pain that we feel? Because I personally feel, based on how I receive it, just like magnetic pulls, shifts, and pushes, that's happening in our body too. And so that's affecting joints, muscle structures, all of those things. So it is bringing in inflammation. We're not as bendy sometimes as we need to be. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense to me. And we're constantly up leveling. And when you're ascending, you are creating miracles, which are a shift in perception. And even if you're healing scar tissue in your body or things like that, it's got to unravel, it's got to shift, it's got to move. And that might sometimes create a little bit of pain. And I got to a point where I even said thank you to my pain. Like, all right, I'm alive. I'm here. Thank you. I appreciate it. And what happens is when you just start to acknowledge it more, when you start to give it the medicines that it needs and deserves, instead of just kind of complaining about it or dismissing it and showing up for it, it's amazing what can start happening. And there's just endless amounts of like opportunities to add something into your tool belt for a medicine for you to help relieve that pain. But I do think that it has a lot to do with just the way that we grow as souls, and that we absolutely can feel it when it comes to some astrological shifts in the weather and stuff like that. It certainly can have an impact on us, but most of it has to do with where we're at in our consciousness.
Awesome. So Brian says, it's been a trying time for sure, but as long as my loved one, I think his loved one is finally at peace on the other side, I am good with it all. Brian, I would love to tell you that I have your loved one here with me. I don't. I actually don't have anything coming through. And usually when that happens, it's because we're not, in this moment is probably not the right time to have the conversation. Okay. There's probably a whole lot more going on behind closed doors that happened with the passing and after the passing, and some of the things that happened that led up to the passing. And so usually the reason why they do these things for me is because this isn't necessarily the moment for you to hear all of the things around everybody else. But I will tell you that no matter who and or what, our loved ones, once they get over to the other side, they're always met with other people that they haven't seen in eons, some of the people they haven't ever met before in their life. And so no matter how they cross over, there's always okay on the other side. I will tell you, we have the right, and we can choose to take our ego with us when we go. And so if they were struggling with something specific, which I'm going to tell you, I do believe that they were, because they're really making me feel like the struggle was real in their life, specifically mentally is how they're presenting this to me. They're really making me feel as though, even though that may have been a struggle here in life, really going over to the other side is seeing why we struggled with what we did, and what it was that we were supposed to experience in those moments. And so it's almost like it dissipates for us. And then sometimes, depending on how they passed, we do have to kind of get through some of those things, some of those hardships, some of those things that we had to learn or didn't quite get while we were here. But it's not in a bad place. And so please just know that no matter what they're experiencing and how they're growing, how they're healing, how they're understanding, it's not in a bad place. It's never in a bad place over there. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to digest. And I don't know if they're saying this because of you, Brian, or if somebody's just saying this because somebody else who's watching this right now has struggled with similar ways that somebody's passed and had more of a religious background. And they're presenting it to me more in the realm of like suicide or self-harm, or maybe accidental overdose, where sometimes people think that they go to a bad place or they go to hell or they're stuck in this purgatory type of space. It doesn't exist. I'm sorry, y'all, hell doesn't exist. And just please shoot me some bad messages later if you want, but that's not how this works. And so the only thing that we have to create is in our mind. And so it doesn't exist over there. And you don't have to be fearful that your loved one's not in a good place and is not crossed over, because I really think they are. I am going to tell you that you may have a really hard time catching up and feeling them around you, because guides are making me feel as though they're not quite there, ready, or willing to connect on that level yet, more so because they had a hard time communicating their words and communicating their emotions when they were here, okay? And so please give them a moment to learn how to digest their emotions differently on the other side, because it's literally like this whole big thing. It's like speaking a foreign language instantaneously, and we have to use our feelings and emotions to get that translation through. So please give them a moment to learn how to digest properly so they don't put too much on top of you. I'm also going to tell you, Brian, I think you're actually a really, really open person. And I think that you yourself struggle with your emotions because I think you feel stuff so deeply within yourself. Like it's probably hard for those emotions to come to the surface and like captivate you sometimes. And it's hard for you to speak your words, I guess. So they're doing this to me, which means closeness and love. And that means that no matter what, you and that person were extremely tight. There's a lot of closeness. There's a lot of love. No matter what the situation or circumstance that led them to the other side, that can't be connected or disconnected. So please just know they're creating this space for me. I almost want to say that I feel like you guys weren't connected prior to the passing. I feel like there was separation. So I don't know if it was separation between you specifically or them and somebody else, but they're giving me separation. So please just know, even if the separation took place, that does not mean that they were in a bad place prior to their passing. Okay. They're giving me head to toe numbness. That just means that they were in a sleep state, heavy, unconscious type of state prior to them taking their last breath, and a roller coaster ride, which means that it probably looked pretty bad for the people who witnessed it. But at the same time, they're also getting a lot of love. Okay. Heather says, can you tell us what book? I did tell you the book, and I will also make sure that I add it into the things so I can I'll add it into the description so you guys can see that. Andrea says, doctors told me I'd be in a wheelchair by 50. I'm almost 59 and still walking on my own. And I'm going to tell you, Andrea, I don't think you're going to stop walking anytime soon. I've seen you. You are quite spry. Tina, hi, Crystal. It was great to see you again. I have to say, I am interested in your meds. Will you be posting? It's just tincture. It's nettle tincture. And like Mandee says, she uses nettle tea. So it's like the same thing. It's just different in how we're receiving it and I guess the concentration of it. And the other one that I made was feverfew, catnip, and echinacea together, which is supposed to be for like higher flares, pain, and stuff like that. It's supposed to give you more like relaxation properties and kind of take away and dissipate some of that stuff. Glenda says, only Tylenol for me also, and not two, just one.
Oh, sweet Glenda.
I love Glenda, and it's so funny because Ben and I have this joke in our house. When I take 2 Tylenol, Mandee, it feels like I just took like a huge dose of Vicodin. That's how it reacts in my body. It literally like makes me high. Tylenol makes me high. So we have this Ben, every time I take Tylenol, he's like, oh, great. Like, am I going to get lucky tonight? I mean, because, you know, you're going to be on. No, I'm just going to lay here and chill because I get dizzy. I get like that fever rush. It's the whole thing. So it's funny that she said that. I have that too. Hi, Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer. Midge is here. I've been waiting all freaking night for her to speak.
We'll send Jennifer some love. She's been a busy mama, and she's has some babies with some boo-boos, so she's been being a good nurse lately. So we're sending her and her tribe a lot of love.
Major love to you, hon. Major love to you. Mother stresses. Whew. Yep. Glenda says that she wants to make gummies. Do it. What's the worst that could happen? I'm going to tell you, making tinctures with marijuana is like the easiest thing in the world. I did that long before. That was easy. Andrea says, I make all natural medicines out of my essential oils. And then she also says she uses medical marijuana. Kathy says, where do we find the CBD line, Mandee?
Zen in a bottle. It's the Spiritual Fit Chick Zen in a bottle, and we will also post that in the comments.
Yes, and I'm going to write that down because I will.
You'll be able to find her, Holly Joy McCabe.
A bottle. I will make sure that I do that so I can put that in the description when we're done. And then we have a couple people talking about the CBDs. Tracy says, I tried CBD for my anxiety, but it did not calm my crazy. I'm willing to try again, though. Everybody's different, Tracy. I don't generally get a lot of benefits from CBD either. And I'm not exactly, I feel like it has to do with how your body metabolizes things.
And it has to be a really good CBD because it just depends. Like these gas station ones, like there's just no regulation on it. And we're actually going to be dropping an episode. We just did an interview with Holly for Token to Talk all about CBD and like the difference between it all and which ones you're going to be wanting in order to have the right potency for yourself for some healing. So we will be also dropping that resource very soon too, but maybe do a little bit more research or try to find one that might work. And also I think anxiety too, like CBD can help with the anxiety, can bring it down, but it's definitely not a cure-all. And it's really important. Anxiety comes from a lot of our mindfulness stuff. So it just comes in there to support. And Tracy, I'm also just so happy you're here. You rock.
So I did skip a couple of the conversations. Thank you guys. Thank you, Shaylee. And then I got down to Lisa. She says, hello, ladies. Hi. Carrie says, I have been watching. I just kept trying. This has been going on for a couple days. Weird. I love the card. I love the card, Mandee. My classroom has been a nightmare. She would love a card, Mandee.
Or Carrie.
And then Lisa also would like a card as well.
Carrie got Inner Temple, Devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. When things are kind of crazy and a nightmare outside of us, it's because things are a little wishy-washy inside. So what you can do is just do your best to get some sleep and reset. And tomorrow is a new day. And each day, the rest of the week is a new day. And if you can find some time, especially in the morning before going into school, before dealing with the classroom situation, to ask your angels to surround you in white and blue light and protect you, and to maybe do at least a 5 to 10 minute little heart meditation on what it is your heart's wanting most and in finding peace. And that could just be some tapping and affirmations. It could be listening along to a guided meditation, whatever it is that you need to do to totally find your chill before you go into the classroom. And then what'll happen is throughout the day, you'll start to find more moments of peace and things will start to calm down. And then the angels are also just showing too, we're coming out of this whole full moon energy and it was rough. And so things should be getting a lot lighter. And then did you say, what's that, Crystal?
Lisa asked if we had a message for her. I do not necessarily have a message for you other than they're doing this to me, which means that you're all on a roller coaster ride right now. All the things that could happen are happening all at once to you.
Look at this is the card she got too. This goes right with you, Crystal.
They're just making me feel like it's all happening with you right now, Lisa. And so I feel like you need to buckle in and just allow them to drive you wherever you're going. Be Miss Daisy right now and let it happen. Go ahead, Mandee.
Align your life too. There's the Be Miss Daisy component of it, but also know that whatever is falling away for you, and whatever is rising right now, whatever it is you're wanting to step into, it's needing to happen for a divine reason. It's not always fun or easy to align our life. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a matter of just quitting a job and walking out and saying, I'm choosing me. And all of a sudden we do start getting more peace. But they're showing that this is a time where we can't kind of ignore the things that are stirring in us. And it is important to speak your truth and to allow yourself to make decisions that make your life feel like it's more in alignment with your soul right now. And you're getting all the green lights to do that.
So buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be an awesome ride.
Yeah.
And I am going to go back to Carrie for just a second. Your guides were like, hey. They're giving you lots of love because you do a lot of work in that classroom. You do a lot of stuff. We talked about it before. She's talked about it on the show. Keep in mind that things are going to get a little bit more filled with chaos for you as like the next month and a half, 2 months progresses. And it's more so because the children find you as being the safe place for them. You're a very nurturing, caring mother role for them. And not all of them have that same system within their family household. And what they're doing is they're making me feel like the children essentially are already picking up energetically on things that they don't know how to lay out on the table because they aren't really great at their communication. And so they're making me feel like there's a lot of fear surfacing in them because once May hits, they're no longer going to have that safe place to connect. And it's always like they're constantly being shuffled, some of them. I feel like there's a couple in your class that are shuffled a lot, and there's a lot of lack of safety and security within that root chakra, which is making all the other ones a little bit funky on the inside of the kiddos. And congratulations to you. It makes me so sad to hear stuff like that. Teachers are amazing people that deserve a lot of stuff because my Lord have mercy. You guys deal with a lot of things, and I cannot tell you how much I thank you. I love you. And also, it takes a strong person. I could not teach. I could not be a teacher. Jill says that
You
she would
are
love
a
a card
teacher.
too. Yeah, but not for children. I mean, like, yeah, and people don't feel safe and secure. Adults are a little bit different from children sometimes. Some of us. I'm not all the time. I'll put it that way. So, Miss Mandee, Jill would like a card from you too.
For Jill. Awakening, energetic upgrades, new way of being, integration. This is a card just letting you know that, like, if you're having weird dreams, first of all, totally to be expected right now. If you can, write a little dream journal down, try to remember some things. If not, it's okay. You're just meant there to observe. They're even showing actually you're having some physical symptoms at times too. You might get like, it might feel like little shocks going through your body or just like little zings sometimes. I'm hearing like maybe you might get in some ringing in your ears or some high pitched noises. Just know that your body is like upgrading to a lot of things right now. And it's just going to be brief and not uncomfortable, really. So don't worry too much. And that you're really assimilating into stepping into a new way of being and showing up in the world and showing up for yourself. You are more conscious of how you are operating. You are more conscious of truth and things around you, and they're encouraging you to let yourself just become more curious. A lot of really wonderful things are happening for you, and if you find yourself wanting to go down a rabbit hole, whether it's how to make your own tinctures or how to talk to your angels or whatever it is, they're encouraging you to go ahead and let yourself go down that rabbit hole. So I hope that helps and supports you tonight, Jill.
And you're welcome, Shaylee. And then Lexi said, Tracy, check out the different strains. Indicas are great for anxiety. There's certain strains I think that would work better. And yes, there are. I have to have like a little bit of my favorite for body stuff is like Gorilla Glue. And that's a little bit of a both thing. It's like whatever. And it's because it's more of a body high than it is a head high, because when I'm in a state of like, flaring or something like that, and I need that, that's what I use. But generally speaking, there's something called Mary's Medicinals, and it's a 1,000 milligram oil that has been the most legit, beneficial, amazing thing on the planet for me, specifically when I have Crohn's flares. I cannot tell you how amazing that stuff works. And it's just one little drop under my tongue, and it will take care of it for at least 4 to 8 hours, depending on where I'm at in my life. And you can only get that through somebody else. You can't make that one. I'm sorry. I looked into it. It is
They're in Colorado. Mary's Medicinals.
They are.
Sure, right?
There's actually a Mary's Medicinals, I think, is in Michigan.
Oh.
They may have another sister one, I think, in Colorado. They may have one, but I do know that the lady is from Jackson, Michigan. And so you can contact them and you can ask them like where to find their stuff. It's usually out all over. Like I don't have any right now because it flies off the shelf so quickly. So that's one of the harder ones to get to. I won't have that problem in California. Just saying, I'm so excited.
No, you won't.
Jen says, hi, everyone. Heather
Hey,
says,
Jen.
thank you. I'll check out Rain Country and look into those books. Glenda says, I found myself moody today, trying to come to terms with whatever may be, but feel a bubbling up. Don't even know what it could be, LOL, but seriously, any ideas, Crystal, Mandee? I need some guidance, please.
Pulling a card for Glenda. Oh, you're not going to like this, but you are. The mirror, who or what is triggering you? Glenda, you are such a badass and such an amazing light worker. And it is so about just owning your space. And if something is triggering you, they're showing right now, it's just sacred boundaries. It's about just reteaching people how to talk to you, how you want to talk to them, how to integrate. When you're just letting other people's moods or things get to you, like little things like that. And what can you do in order to find peace within yourself? This is just opportunities coming up to help you to get stronger within yourself. Also, still my favorite resource is the Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. You can listen to it for free on YouTube, and it helps a lot with triggers. So this is all rising for you, and it's just so that you get a little bit sharper within yourself and within your skills. Not fun, not easy, but also remember, like, especially that kind of some of those irritable feelings, they're there for the sacred boundaries. So trust them and honor them. Oh, hello.
Rocky had to say hi. Hi, Rox. Hi, Rox. You're a good boy. You're just such a good boy. I know it's food time and we're just waiting. I'm so sorry, guys. Tracy says, Lexi, I have my medical marijuana card, but I'm an old school pot smoker. I smoked a lot in high school, but I am clueless now with all of the different strains. You can Google those things, and there's a ton of stuff. You can also like get an app for it. I did get some hybrids.
Sativa, indica, and hybrid. Sativas are like more like uppity. You want to do things during the day, more active. Indicas are more heavier, kind of. They'll make your body heavier, your brain a little heavier. The more like slower, like what kind of thing. And a hybrid's like in between. But then there's a bazillion different strains within all of that.
Yep, all of those things, and that's what Gorilla Glue is, guys. It's a hybrid. It's got all of the things in there, so that's why I like it. But it buzzes me, but doesn't make me depressed, and so that's why I like that on the days that I'm flaring really bad. And then she says, "I'm hoping the more I work on myself, i.e., trauma and such, my anxiety will subside." It will get better, but you will still have some ups and downs, and it's just dealing with it when it comes and allowing yourself to love you. Lexi says, Glenda, tomorrow's the big 22222222222 portal. I'm literally like dropping twos all over the place now. Let's show me the money. Energy is crazy lately. All this stuff coming up to help us course correct and take our power back and empowerment. I hope you are doing good. Beautiful. Kristen says, don't be afraid to ask questions when you go to the dispensary. They are informative. They will give you all the things. Did Token Talk actually made a post about that not too long ago, and I laughed out loud because it was like they talk about this, and this, and they're like, oh, this is what you need. Some crazy name comes up.
It was funny. It was like you go to the weed store and you ask like the bud tender, like, I need something for my nightmares and my crazy like anxiety and something else. And they're like, and they think about it and they're like, oh, I'm going to give you like Boogie Woogie Witch or like something like crazy. And it was really funny. So yeah, we have a little Token to Talk page that has funny memes and information for you.
So Heather says, I want to help my husband get off blood pressure meds if possible. That's some of the reason for looking into making tincture for that. He's got to do it himself, honey. You can help him along the way, but he's got to want it himself. And then Lexi also says, I'm a weed geek. I prefer THC over CBD. Me too. It works better. I like adding some other herbal blends into now with all that I'm learning more for my it's to the only thing that's worked for my lifelong anxiety. I never thought it would ease up, but I'm 3 years in and my mind is blown. The combo of plant medicine and shadow work has been life-changing. Good luck on this. That is also very true. It is immense how much that all can help really heal those things.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Lexi is she's part of Sea Goddess Healing Arts. She's our mermaid in the mountains, and we do a show called Unschooled together. And so she has a lot of information about all that. And Lexi's so grateful to share her story and like the hard work that she's done in order to help this to happen for her.
It is amazing. I love her, by the way. TJ says, true story, sitting here crying. Thanks so much. You guys are absolutely amazing. There's a ton of comments and I'm trying so hard. Oh, I'm so sorry. Cassandra says, I found out that my friend passed of an overdose and I've struggled with where they might be on the other side. Thank you so much for this. I'm so sorry for your loss. I am so sorry for your loss. Overdoses are not easy to deal with, handle, and or heal from on both realms. So please just know that there's a lot that spirit carries over there with them too, like, because sometimes it's something so simple, one choice, one decision, and it's can lead them down the path of this. So there's more that I could get into, but I don't really feel like right now is the time. Mandee, honey, we have a ton of you, and I'm not trying to ignore any of you guys. You've been amazing, and I love every single one of you. But Mandee, my dear, where do people find you? And do you guys have, is it this Wednesday that you have your thing going on? Or, because don't you have something going on this week too?
Yeah, last week we had an online full moon circle, which was incredible. Many of you were there. It was awesome. And tomorrow, if you're in the New Jersey area, we're having an actual self-love and care workshop on the 222 portal. But we're also going to be offering that online probably in about a month. Yeah, I'm just so grateful. There's so many comments. Thank you all so much for joining. I wish we had time to go through all of them. We don't tonight, unfortunately, but you are just so loved and held. And I'm so grateful you're all here and you're talking with one another and you're creating this amazing community with Crystal and I. Our friend Jen calls her Midge and Mandee Mondays. And it's just been like so much fun, and keep showing up. Keep coming. If you have any questions, let us know. Reach out. Crystal and I both offer independent services so that you can book more time with us. And yeah, you can follow me at seagoddesshealingarts.com. Give us a like, a share, a follow. What about you, Crystal?
You can find me at Spirit Speaks with Mitten Medium on YouTube and on Facebook. And then you can also find me at Mitten Medium. I swear to God, one of these days I'm going to change it to like Midge, because I love it so much. And yes, you guys are right. My dog is hungry. He's used to eating at 6:30, and I had a group reading, so I came home and I couldn't feed him. And now he's like, time out. It is no longer Mandee's turn with you, Mom. It's my turn. So I love you all so very much. And I am 100% with Mandee on this. You're loved, you're held. And I just want to give you guys a great big hug for tomorrow, because I think some of you are going to have some stuff kind of come up, some crazy dreams tonight, lack of sleep. So please just remember, go ahead, Mandee, my dear.
The last message that came out is dance. Do something to shift your vibration. Literally, move a muscle, move a thought. If you are stuck and stagnant, move, do something. Even if you're bedbound, you can make circles with your hands or something. There's something that we can do to move our energy, whether it's dance, whether it's yoga, whether it's going for a walk, doing some stretches, a workout, punching a punching bag, whatever it is you got to do, move that energy, and you will all start feeling so much better. Thanks for tuning in. We love you. We're grateful, and we'll see you next week.
And I will be posting the Zen in the Bottle as well as the book links, and also the Rain Country. I will make sure that I post those things on this video so you guys can come back and find it. Thank you guys so much. You have a beautiful, wonderful night. It's 8:11. Google your numbers. Oh! Bye, guys.